to our channel. Thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing and supporting our channel. So tonight's case is a little different. I did a prediction post about 12 months ago around the entertainment industry. Now, we did predict around Philip Schofield, and at the time it was a pretty unbelievable case where no one really believed me, the usual. But also in recent events in the last few days, the Russell Brand case as well. Now, we did predict that in a recent post. Now, originally I was going to dive into the full case of the entertainment industry, but I do think we should be diving into the Russell Brand case to begin with. So the reason it's on YouTube and not on a live, now if you aren't on our social media, Facebook, Instagram, I will tag the link tree so that you can find us, no problem, is because a lot of the followers were looking for the prediction posts. They are in our Instagram highlights, but they can be quite hard to find on Facebook, especially with our lives when we do the predictions in that too. So I've decided, just for a lot more easier for yourselves, is that if I do it on YouTube, you'll be able to find it easily, and when things start to play out, you'll be able to refer back to the video. So that is why we're doing it on YouTube. So again, if this is your first time on our YouTube, welcome to our channel. We do have a playlist of crime stories, days in the life, so a bit of everything there, so I do hope you enjoy it. But let's dive in and let's get started. So tonight's case is the Russell Brand case. Born on the 4th of June 1975. Now, he was born in Essex, and his mum and father split up when he was 6 months old. His mum reared him until the age of 8, and unfortunately his mum was diagnosed with cancer, which then meant Russell had to go and stay with relatives. A year later she was diagnosed with breast cancer, so he still stayed with relatives. At the age of 14 he developed bulimia. And at the age of 16, he moved out of his mum's home due to the fact that he didn't get on with his mum's partner. And this is said when Russell then went on the drugs, the alcohol, and this is when addiction apparently started for him. Russell had a strange relationship with his father. He's seen him on and off throughout the years, but he also said that in his teenage years, his father took him to Thailand and to prostitutes. So again, back then, it was already installed in Russell Brand at a very young age around sexuality, possibly, again, being the player, being a womanizer, and again, learned behaviour, in a sense. A comedian and a Hollywood actor. In more recent times, he deals a lot with wellness. He talks a lot about getting his truth out there around the mainstream media. He speaks very vocally around this, but also in the past he was very flamboyant in himself. He was very open about his drug addiction, his sex addiction, his woman addiction, and in most recent times he's turned his life around. He has 2 children, a baby on the way, and he has a wife. He was originally married to Katy Perry in 2010 to 2012. Now, there was a documentary out where it showed Katy Perry, which I will add into this video. He dumped her by text just before she was going on to do a show, and she had to make the decision whether she was going to do that show or whether they were going to cancel. And her team at the time had said, you do what you want to do. If you can do your best, do it. If you can't, then don't. He had never went to any of her shows in the whole time that he'd been with her. So he'd never actually seen his partner perform, which would say that he obviously wasn't very proud of her, or he was very self-obsessed with himself, might we say.
I left him have a tickets box.
Let me see. Oh, that's not meant to make you upset.
What is it?
The necklace that she got for her birthday from Russell. The day after she got it, she lost it at the venue.
You have 2 options. You can cancel the show, or you can do your best.
Start, Todd.
BBC Radio 2, Big Brother. He was getting to the height of his game around Hollywood movies. He had made a name for himself back in America, also back home. And considering at the start of his career, a lot of people would shun him. Now, he was actually shunned by Bob Geldof when Mr. Geldof called him the C word at some sort of award ceremony. And he looks very raging at the time. I will add it in, but there is actually a backstory behind that. Now, the backstory is that he dissed Rod Stewart and Bob Geldof to say that he'd been with both their daughters, and he took great pleasure in that. Now, that's why Bob Geldof called him the C word. I will pop the trailer in to let you see it for yourself.
Russell Brand, what
Allegations that have came to light through Channel 4 Dispatches documentary that aired last night was from 2006 to 2013. So again, it was at the height of Russell Brand's name. He was in the mainstream media. He did add a video on the Friday night before the news broke to defend himself and say how much these allegations are not true. He was at the height of his game, and basically these people are saying it for the sake of saying it. We've got to remember behaviours. He had a drug problem. He was a sex addict, his words. To then come and defend himself on Friday night before the news broke, a lot of people might say because he has to get the truth out there. He has to put that out before they put it out. Yeah, that is the case. Or is it that he put it out so that it would burn the other headline because he would then be the headline because he knew what was coming out and he knew he had a lot of support. He is on social media now more than ever rather than in mainstream. And I think it's between 28 and 66 million followers he has, like, overall. So he has a hell of a lot of support, and he knew that. Now, again, with a narcissist, they really do like to control the narrative. And I'm sure a lot of people watched that video thinking, well, he has to defend himself because he's been targeted. He's been targeted through the government, through mainstream media, because he's speaking the truth. He's telling the truth. What is the truth? We are looking for the truth off of someone who has went from one addiction to another, then decided to reform himself and live a quiet life outside the mainstream media, not because he wants a quiet life, because he disagrees with the mainstream media. Now, that's two different things altogether. So the fact that he disagrees with the mainstream media for how they portray their stories and they change the narrative, or they want us to believe all these different things, like when he went on about the Pfizer, the vaccine, all these different things. He said the elite, it's to do with the elite. Now, my question to Russell Brand is, you're worth £20 million. You have had feet in Hollywood, you have been feet back here, and you're telling me that you're not the elite. There is someone above you. When in 2006 to 2013, everything was going Russell Brand's way. The question is, why was it going his way? Why did he get away with it so much in plain sight? We watched it. We normalised it because the TV, the mainstream media, said that was okay. Forward in that documentary with their allegations of sexual abuse, mental abuse, aggressive behaviour, controlling behaviour, and they told their stories. A lot of people said that, why would they wait till now? How do we know it's true? You've seen in the documentary last night that they showed some sketches that then coincide with what the victims were saying, which again could look a little fishy. It could look like they're taking it off the back of that. Or is Russell Brand projecting who he is? And it's most likely the case. We project every day who we are. We speak our unconscious thoughts out through other parts of subject and language, where, like, he's using his sketches to possibly show out and speak out his fantasies. If you look back in a lot of the clips, he's a very sexual person. He's very touchy-feely. Most women that he cuddles don't pull away. And why is that? Are they scared or are they enjoying the attention? And when you do look at the clips, a lot of the time they don't look scared. They probably are enjoying the attention. But it's because everyone else in the room isn't saying that's wrong. Everyone else is like, oh, great, great. So automatically, a victim then feels like it's their fault. They're on their own. So when people are endorsing it, which we all do, because if you don't know, you don't know, then that makes that victim silent because they feel like they're in the wrong. And obviously within the documentary, it says, like, he said he would get lawyers' letters sent, and sent a text message where it was confirmed that it came from Russell Brand's phone, where he was apologising for his selfish behaviour. Now, he didn't use the word rape or sexual abuse and didn't get into detail, but he'd certainly done something wrong to send that message. And I think that on its own should say that there's some sort of truth in this. But not just that, the fact that these journalists took over 2 years to investigate this before they brought this to light. They gave Russell Brand a chance to respond. The word on the street is Russell Brand's agent dropped him when the allegations came to light, because what one of the other comedians said, Daniel Sluss, was that it was public knowledge for the last 10 years that a lot of women felt uncomfortable around Russell Brand. They were given walkie-talkies, crew members. Now, as you've seen in the documentary, they spoke about the runners, who else's runner was involved before, Philip Schofield. Now, one of the predictions we did say was there's a lot more happening behind the camera. Now, when you're probably in a job like that and you're young, you want to impress, you want to do your best, and it's this whole power struggle of the fact that they are so young that you can use them to your advantage. And as you heard one of the victims say, that he was so delighted and excited that she was a virgin and was treating her and holding her like a baby. Now, that might seem unbelievable because it's Russell Brand. Like, he's all about hugging trees, wellness. He's very in plain sight. He's honest because he just speaks it out. It doesn't mean he hasn't done it because he speaks it out or he was very open about it. If you look back on the dates from 2006 to 2013, he told Jimmy Savile, you can have my assistant naked if you want on a call. He also told the 16-year-old, like, he was 30, promised her the world at the time, playing around Russell Brand for sexual harassment, said that he just wouldn't take no for an answer. So back in 2006, this was being suggested, his types of behaviour, his demands, his controlling behaviour. 2007, he offered his assistant to Jimmy Savile, as I said, offered her up naked. Said, well, she has to do whatever I tell her to do. So again, he was laughing and joking about it, but projection. 2008, prank call with Andrew Sachs. Now, Russell had slept with Georgina Bailey, and Russell Brand and Jonathan Ross on BBC Radio 2 left a voicemail on Andrew Sachs' phone just saying thank you for granddaughter. I'm not even going to get into it. It was a very disrespectful message. And Jonathan Ross, actually, if you look at the clip, he was the one that started that, but you've seen that Russell Brand had no conscience in that whatsoever. I will add a clip in just to remind you. And then, as I said, Rod Stewart with and Bob Geldof, they both were dug out by Russell Brand as well because he said that he went with their daughter. So it shows that he had no respect for women whatsoever. It was also said that he would get women to send him explicit pictures and then he would show them around. Now, I know this person's a celebrity, and if you're silly enough to send those types of pictures and they do fall into the wrong hands, nowadays we have such good laws that can protect us from that, but back then that wasn't the case. So he had no respect for women, he had no respect for anyone that he was dating, sleeping with. He speaks about the mainstream media, but he was more than happy to pick up Shagger of the Year by the Sun newspaper. Now, that is mainstream media, Russell Brand, but you were happy to pick that up because it suited your narrative. It suited what you were trying to get out there, because just like Jimmy Savile, you could easily live in plain sight. You would ask your crew members, like a child in a sweetie shop, to pick up the audience members that you wanted. After you had them, you would disregard them. You speak very much about drug addiction and how out your face you were, but you are certain you've not done any of these allegations. How can you be certain that you've not did this when the state that you were in before? There's so much compelling evidence against Russell Brand that this is a life sentence for the victims, because just like Jimmy Savile, who got away with it until his death, Max Clifford, now again, publishing, and I'm going to keep mentioning this word, publishing, because it's funny how it's all these people, and in that era, especially within 2006 and 2013, so much changed where Rolf Harris, Max Clifford, why are all these people all of a sudden being caught out and caught? But how did they get away with it for so long in plain sight, where now everyone's speaking up saying, well, yeah, it was public knowledge, nobody wanted to hang about with Jimmy Savile, Philip Schofield. It's happened the year before. Now, when our predictions came out, the reason that came out was I was watching this morning and you could just tell the chemistry was off, and it all started from there on Alive, where I was like, I'm telling you, they fell out. I don't get a good feel for him. And it's the exact same with Russell Brand. I do genuinely believe that he's tried to turn his life around, but there's no accountability. And you can't turn your life around or heal or fix yourself if you're not taking accountability for your actions. And karma is real. And I think in an instance like this, it shows you how real karma is. What goes up must come down, and the people you kick in the way up are surely going to kick you in the way back. Like to be told no. And it proves it with the mainstream media. I'm going to come on to my opinion, my conclusion in a second, and the predictions of what I think is going to happen next. But a narcissist loves to control the narrative. I genuinely believe that he has put the video out on the Friday night, again, to control the narrative, because it's part of his personality. He's fell out with the media because they didn't say what they wanted to say. It shows spitting the dummy out the pram. So does that behaviour not show you, like when someone says no, he's not going to like it? And I'm a strong believer in behaviours are everything, words are nothing. So he can say, oh, I'd never be like that. It's always consensual. Have you not noticed in all the clips? Yeah, it's always consensual. Or if it's consensual, why do you feel the need to keep saying that? Projection. Projection will show you someone's real behaviours, and that's where judge a character comes in, instincts. And that's what we do speak about in the post of yesterday on our Facebook. We have lost our moral compass on social media, online. We find it easy to defend a stranger around sexual abuse allegations. Now, okay, they are allegations, but how can you say that you know that person well enough to say that they didn't do it? For the fact that you probably are only close to between 5 and 10 people in your life that you could really say, I would know if they did that, or I would have seen those tendencies. But like a lot of people who did speak in that documentary, one of the PA who works for him said that she didn't think that he was capable of like sexual abuse or rape and things like that. Just because we don't see it doesn't mean that it's not happening. But that's what I'm going to come on to my conclusion, in my opinion, straight after this now. Because I think we're in a world now where we overshare. We've been taught with mental health. We need to speak out. We need to get an opinion out there. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm entitled to my opinion. Let's say it. Why? Is it going to affect you in the next 5 years? Does this situation affect your life directly? No, it doesn't. That on its own should tell you straight away where one of the catalysts in all this is. Let's get started. My opinion, my conclusion. I don't know how this is going to land. So remember and subscribe and comment. Thank you for watching. So I'm going to give my opinion. I'm just going to tell you exactly what I think, and then I'll give you some predictions. It'll probably be within my opinion as well. So get your pen and paper, remember, and favourite the video. Ring the bell on it as well so that you get a notification and you can find it when you think something's come to fruition that we spoke about this evening. Again, thanks everybody for watching at this point. Okay, I think it's safe to say we know that I think Russell Brand is very much guilty of these allegations. Friday night, I had popped a post up to say I hear something's happening over the weekend that's I think's going to be part of our validations, especially within the entertainment industry. Now, obviously that was the case, getting into because the documentary was coming out. I then shared the video of Russell Brand to give everyone a heads up. Like, I wouldn't share it lightly. He's defending himself. I'm giving him the platform so that you can see him defending himself purposely. Now, I did caption it. I think he's a little rattled because he does look rattled. And psychically, I got it as well. When a narcissist loses control, they will do everything in their power and they will ask someone to validate them, whether that be their partner or... But didn't they say that? Didn't they? They'll constantly look for reassurance. And if you like see that in someone, that is narcissism. And it's because they know that it's not their truth. And with Russell Brand, he was very much, as we know, a sex addict, drug addict, probably got addiction to life and attention seeking in general is the vibe that I get from that. And I do think the Jimmy Savile days of where it was acceptable, it was 1994 when Russell Brand really came into the industry, so it was still at a time where this was all going on. He speaks about the elite, which I just think's hilarious considering he is worth £20 million. He was married to Katy Perry. He was very much part of the elite, and you sacrifice going into the elite and you sacrifice leaving the elite. Now, he speaks about the media around the elite as well. And this is where this video and why I want it to be saved in YouTube, because it's not something I've ever said before. But I do feel very, very strongly around this. The media, the mainstream media, who we believe that are running a narrative every single day, which they are to a certain extent, we play into their hands. We comment on posts, we have our opinion, we endorse celebrities, we endorse good things, we endorse bad things. We can't help it. And that's where the pandemic is. By living on social media and believing that world is real is what takes your logic away, which takes your manners away, takes your compassion away. Now, there straight away, your manners and your compassion are already gone in a situation like this, because some people don't believe the victims and they're saying it out loud. How do you think that feels for the victim? Would you do that in normal life? In real life? Of course you wouldn't. Even if you thought that, you would spare that person's feelings out of respect, and that would be the right thing to do. Something a lot of people don't hold now is dignity, class, respect. Again, verbal nodding is a good thing, and it's not that you're being walked all over or not having your opinion, but does it affect your life? Always ask yourself that question. So straight away, as a society, we have endorsed this as a world, to be honest, because let's face it, it's not just the UK that it's happening. So straight away, we are part of the problem. There's our 25%. Now, he's talking about the elite and how the elite and the media are together. What if I said to you guys, what if the elite are not with the media, but the elite are up here and the media are here, and it's the media that are getting closer to the truth? So the elite must then turn society on the media, because if they do that, then they'll keep believing the elite and let them live the life that they're living and doing what they're doing and controlling us muppets, puppets, whatever way you want to put it, where we are again endorsing celebrities and saying they would never do that. Never met them in my life, by the way. They've never even spoke to me. They don't know who I am, but oh no, they wouldn't do that. How stupid and silly does that sound when you say it out loud? And we say it all the time. It's the media. It's the government. I'm going to be really upfront. The media and the government don't need to do much. We're doing a freaking grand job ourselves at endorsing everything that's wrong, where it gives the media the story. So effectively, we're out in the elite. The media is jumping on it and the elite don't like it. And again, think of it, Russell Brand, Philip Schofield, all these other people. Who's really pissed off that's making this happen? Sorry for the swearing. But who is really cheesed off? And why is this happening? It's not a conspiracy theory. It's the fact that people power is getting bigger, and it's giving victims the strength to speak out. It took the journalists 2 years to do that documentary. They did not do that documentary lightly. They did not pull the victims out of thin air, and those victims deserve full respect, because guess what? Russell Brand is nothing more than the same as me and you, and that's what you need to remember. And everyone has tendencies, and the fact of his background, like he wants to play a character, and that's what he's did this whole time. So if you think of it that way, you believe a character, that's not the real person. The real person is the people that the victims are speaking about. They've had the experience one-on-one. How can you deny that victim of their truth and not getting justice because you watched the person online or watched them on TV and, oh, they were brilliant, so they would never do that. Sounds stupid, doesn't it? Sounds really silly. It infuriates me. I psychically get that the list is going to be the lengthiest Aram in the next 2 weeks. And do you know what? To any victim who might be watching this, be brave. Do it. Please, please do it. Do it for you. Because he's not feeling bad about it. And justice has to come in one way or another. I see a lot more coming out. A lot of people have mentioned a few other names, which I'm not going to mention in this video because I will keep for later videos on our YouTube. But I do feel 3 other people are going to be outed in the next, I'd say 2 to 3 weeks. I'm strong enough to say probably 2 weeks. I also think that there's going to be a female outed in some way as well, and I do feel someone is going to stand very strong alongside Russell Brand. Now, so far we have Elon Musk in there. We have somebody else, just bear with me. Who else? Andrew Tate. So yeah, great character references, eh? Aye, Popeye. So, I do genuinely believe over the next 5 weeks we're going to hear a lot more, especially around, again, the BBC. Now, the channels, I said this before, the television channels are fighting against each other just now. BBC, ITV, we've seen it happen. Philip Schofield. Now, I did say it at the time as well, it's batting back to BBC. It would just be a matter of time, a scandal at this end. So it's just a matter of time before we're back to STV. But now I think there's 2 people from Channel 4. But I want to see that's happening in January next year, because I don't actually think anyone was expecting this documentary for until the last 2 weeks. I feel it's been very well guarded, very well hidden. I don't feel we're going to hear much about Russell Brand's family, and I think quite rightly so. We've got to remember these people haven't done anything wrong. They've probably been sold the dream and bought into this character, or whatever you want, what way you want to put it. I have no respect for this character, to be totally honest with you. But again, I do feel we're going to hear towards next year around more his family life. He's not in mainstream media anyway, but I do think that for the next 6 weeks we're going to hear a lot about it. But he's not going to be sitting with Philip Schofield on his own. That waiting room's going to get pretty busy. And I do feel that he's going to start speaking out more. I did see that Katie Hopkins had spoke out and said, like, I think she agrees with Russell Brand. I've actually agreed with a lot that Katie Hopkins has said in the last little while, but that is one thing I just don't agree with. I think he is, do you know what, he maybe is being targeted, but quite fucking right. Sorry for the language, trigger warning. Quite right. And also, it was just a matter of time. And it's not that he's been targeted. He did something wrong, and accountability, injustice is everything. I've given my opinion on it. I hope you have enjoyed it. Again, I thought I'll just pop this onto a YouTube because it's so much easier for you guys to find. I think we've covered everything in this. I do get the word marbles with something, and I don't know why. And I want to say that there possibly is 3 to 4 American companies that might speak out around something. I don't know if you get sponsorships, but I think something might come in around that as well. And the word, the name James, and with something which I feel could be American or UK presenter, so just keep that. But I don't feel they're implicated in anything wrong, but I do feel they're going to have their say, and I do feel it's going to be a British actress that's going to seal the deal with this, where you're going to start to see big names being attached. Now, you've got to remember, Dannii Minogue made this allegation back in 2006 and no one listened. So I don't feel she's going to be the only one. I think there's going to be a lot of big names attached around this. I don't think he's going to get away from it. I do think that he is going to get there'll be criminality. I do think there are going to be charges against him, but I think it's going to be a live case like Jimmy Savile in some way. I think there's a lot more to come around that. And again, I think he'll hide behind addiction and mental health, as they do. Guys, I hope you have enjoyed this. Remember, I will add my link tree. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram. I do try and go live. Haven't been live for a while, but I'm going to try this week. And again, if any validations, just pop them over to our page. But I will add a playlist going forward for this video so that you can find the next one and when the updated one's out. So again, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Stay safe and take care.